Hello, everybody. This is Jack from tofluency.com. We are going to talk about the perfect English language learning routine, the perfect way to spend your day so that you can make really fast progress with your English. But before we get into that, if you are new here, welcome. My name is Jack from tofluency.com. Be sure to check the description and get my book. It is free to download, the 5-step plan for English fluency. So recently, I've been getting a lot of emails from people who are learning English, and they're telling me that they have a specific level, but they're not happy with the way that they are progressing. So I asked them, what are you currently doing to improve? How are you spending your day to help you improve your English? And the answers have been very revealing. They have told me a lot about what they are doing to improve. And I want to share with you what I think is maybe the perfect English learning routine. Now, firstly, it's important to know that I need your help with this too. I need your help. So please tell me what you think people should be doing in order to improve. Additionally, what's perfect for you might not work for everyone. And we are going to say that this is for people who live in non-English speaking countries. People who live in non-English speaking countries. Okay, because that's important to know. If you live in the UK and you have a job where you work in English, and also you have a British wife or husband, and that's very different because you have the environment in which you can practice every day and listen to people every day. But what we're going to discuss here is somebody who has a job where they don't use their English. It's a bit bright, that, isn't it? So they have a job where they don't speak in English, where they live in a country where they can't use their English on a daily basis. And also somebody who has a family too. Because these are all restrictions that can really stop us from just spending the whole day learning. If you can spend the whole day learning and you do that, great. But most people can't do that. Most people have jobs, commitments, families, and other things that they have to do. So I'm just going to go through some of the comments. If you are watching the replay, then you can look at the live chat comments. There should be a little button on your phone that says live chat. So click that and you can read what people are saying at this specific time of the video. So Josep is here from Spain. Gilmar says, I walk twice a day listening to podcasts. We've got Sarat from Turkey. Gemma is here. Isaiah is here from Guatemala. Very cool. Joseph, once a week I speak with my English teacher. Okay. Yeah, Ahmed says, in short, they don't use English. Yeah, they don't use English as part of their everyday lives. We have somebody saying, listen to British radio 24/7. Very cool. It's important to practice at least once a day. I've been living in a country and nobody speaks English. Yeah, so that's what we're going to focus on. Focus on if you live in a country where you don't speak English, where people don't speak English as the first language. And just quickly, how is the microphone? Is it loud enough? Please let me know. I didn't set up the settings to make it louder. How is the microphone? Okay, so let's just talk about the traditional way of learning. So before the internet, before everybody has one of these phones, to learn English, you went to a language school. That was the most popular way to learn. So if you thought, okay, I want to learn English, you go to a language school. And you'd take a lesson maybe once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, and you would use a textbook. Notice I'm using would. We use would to talk about past actions. Okay, past actions, things that we did in the past. So you would go to a language school, use a textbook. The teacher would teach from that textbook. Then you would practice a few exercises, listen to something, and then maybe practice a little bit of speaking. So that is one of the things that most people did in the past. But now, I think the number one thing that English learners do from speaking to people and asking them questions is watching YouTube videos. Okay, so watching YouTube videos. Leave in the chat box and tell me how many hours per day or per week do you watch English lessons on YouTube? Okay, and this could be English teachers, it could be just watching anything you like, but it's in English. How many hours a day do you spend doing that? So Yoshi says 1. Somebody else says 2. Leave your answers. 10. Often about 2 hours a day, twice per week, between 1 and 2 hours per day. About 1 to 2 hours a day, 15 hours a week. 1. I watch videos daily, but I'm not making any progress. A lot about 4. 2 videos per day, only your videos. Go watch other people too. 10 minutes per day, an hour a day, maybe 3 hours a week. I think 3 hours. So I'd say the average is about 1 to 2, well, let's just say 2 hours a day. 2 hours a day watching YouTube videos, which is really good. It's really good. And let's just put this together as one. Watching TV, watching YouTube videos, listening to podcasts, listening to audiobooks. So anything where you're listening in a passive way, let's say that is one thing that you can do. So that's one thing you can do. And I've always said, listen as much as possible. So listen to as much English as you can, because it's easy to do this while doing other things. So as you know, you can listen to a podcast when exercising. You can watch YouTube videos while washing the dishes. You can watch YouTube videos when you're lying in bed at night. You can listen to audiobooks while you're cleaning the house. So this is something that most people can do more of, and it's important to listen because it gives you the input. It gives you the input. And you can internalize grammar, learn new words and phrases, and get used to people speaking English by listening. So listening is an important part of this. Okay? It's a really important part, listening and watching TV series at night. And think about it this way. If you are, if you're living in Spain and you have children and your children watch TV, maybe put it in English instead. So your children are getting exposure to English television. They'll want to watch more of it because they like TV. And you're also getting that listening practice too. But just think about your day and how you can spend more time listening. And I think it's a good idea to do this while traveling, commuting, because commuting means going to work or to school. Traveling tends to suggest that it's for a holiday. So while commuting, listen to things. It's a great thing to do. When you're doing housework, you can listen. While you're exercising, you can listen. And also just when you're feeling tired before bed, or maybe on your lunch break, you can listen then. But I noticed that a lot of people told me, I don't have time to study, but I'm watching YouTube videos 1 or 2 hours per day. So people are spending their time watching YouTube videos, maybe instead of doing something else. Now, just let me know again in the chat, where do you watch, or when do you watch most of the YouTube videos you watch? So, do you spend most of your time watching videos on the train, or at work, or in bed, in the evening? Tell me when you actually do this. When do you spend your time watching YouTube videos? So Miriam says at night before sleeping, at home, mainly in the afternoon, on the train, at night. Jack's videos in the evening, in bed, in the evening, in bed, and sometimes while driving. While commuting or before bed. I usually watch at work. In the afternoon, at work, at home, in bed, in the morning. 3 days, watching video in the evening, at my desk, in bed, during the commute, when the boss is out at work, in the bath, in the morning, at work. So this is quite common, isn't it? So a lot of people are doing it at work, in bed, in the evenings, and while commuting, which is really good. Which is really good. So the next thing to think about is, when can you spend your time doing something that is more active? When can you spend your time doing something that is more active? And what I mean by that is usually like speaking with somebody, or practicing saying things out loud using the To Fluency method, or writing. So how much time per day can you actually spend where you are doing deliberate practice, where you are focused on something and you're either speaking or writing or doing something to learn, not just a passive way, but in an active way? So how much time per day can you spend doing that? I'm really intrigued to know these kind of comments. So we have 2 to 3 hours, 2 hours per day, 20 minutes, half an hour, about an hour per day, 30 minutes per day. Good. 30 minutes. 1 hour, 2 hours. 2 hours in the morning, 30 minutes, 2 hours, 3 hours, an hour. Between 5 to 8 hours. Wow. All day with some of my friends. 8 till 12, 10 minutes, 1 hour, 20 minutes, 60 minutes, 1 hour. What's really interesting here is that these answers vary greatly. Some people are saying 15 minutes, 30 minutes. Other people are saying all day. I can spend all day learning English. So this is important to know. Is that, I'm going to hide that little message. It's important to know that the perfect English learning routine depends on you and your schedule. It depends on you and your schedule. So for the people who are saying 30 minutes a day, also think about if you can do more. And this is really important to think about, whether you actually can do more, and if you want to do more. If you want to do more. Because if you really want to learn English, then you might be able to find more time to study, to do something more active. So have a little think about that. Is there a time of day, or is there something that you do that you can stop doing so you can do more English? And I'm not saying that's exactly what you have to do, but it's important to know that the more you do in this regard, the faster you'll make progress. So it just depends on you and your goals. That's why in my book, The 5-Step Plan for English Fluency, it's free to download in the description, I talk about your why and your goals. Because if you, for example, if you have an IELTS exam next week and you have to pass it so that you can have a new amazing job that you really want, you will find more time to do it. This is a really strong why. a really strong why, a really strong reason to do more in English. On the other hand, if you think, yeah, I want to improve my English, but I don't need to do it this week. I don't need to do it this month. I'll just do a little bit now and see how I go. So in that case, your reason to learn isn't as strong. And therefore, you won't try to find more time to do it. So Sarah has a really interesting comment here. Maybe I can do more. The important thing is how I spend that time. Without interaction, communication, any amount of time will be wasted. So really good point there. And again, in my book, I talk about, in order to make fast progress, it's about the time you spend learning and what you do with that time. What you do with that time. Because we want to be efficient. We want to be efficient English learners. We want to improve faster, and the things that we do are really effective. Because that's what you should be doing. That's exactly what you should be doing. Especially when you think about the fact that we all have different things in our lives going on. This is true for things like exercise, where you can say, okay, I am going to exercise in the most effective way possible. Maybe doing intensive training for a short amount of time, or lifting weights. And then you can think, okay, how can I be more effective with all of this? And it applies to learning English too. So okay, I'm just going to have to ban a couple of people. How do I Perfect. Okay, so let's now talk about some effective methods. So, as we said, we need to get that input. We need to be able to listen to things and watch things. And that's something that we can do in different times of the day, like in bed before we go to sleep, on the train when we're commuting to work, while we're traveling abroad. Just watching TV in English instead of in your own language. Those kind of things are quite easy to incorporate. Another thing we can do is to read more by reading the news in English. And basically, what this is just, instead of doing things in your native language, do them in English instead. That's quite a simple concept. Instead of doing things in your native language, do them in English instead. And that's something everyone can do. Change the language of their device into English, read the news in English, listen to English music, watch English TV. A lot of people who are on this channel know to do that. So that's step one. But that's just input. We need to also do other things to work on the way we speak, our fluency, our accuracy, and our writing too. So I want, firstly, everybody, this is a free tool. And this is my affiliate link because there is a paid option. But the first thing I want you to do is go to tofluency.com/Grammarly and download it. I think this is one of the best apps an English learner or anyone can have who wants to improve their writing. So I use Grammarly to make sure that I don't make mistakes when I write. It's not a spell checker, it's a grammar checker. It is fantastic. So whenever you're trying to practice your writing, write something using Grammarly, and it's going to give you feedback on the way that you write, on the grammar you use, if you make spelling mistakes, if you use a wrong preposition. So Yauda says, I've used it for more than 2 years. I just think it's a fantastic tool. And writing is a very good activity for you if you want to be able to express yourself in English. You can think of writing as a step before speaking. So let's say you have learned a few new words and phrases and some new grammar, and you want to be able to use it properly. A great step is to write it down, to use Grammarly, and to write sentences. It will then correct your grammar. So if you've learned about prepositions and you want to practice, it tells you when you use the wrong preposition and what the correct preposition should be. If you say something like he had or he have gone, okay, it will tell you, no, he has gone. He has gone. It's such a fantastic tool. So maybe think about incorporating 5 minutes of writing per day. If you can do more, great, but every day, try to do 5 minutes of writing. And you're going to get feedback on your writing using Grammarly. So it's a fantastic tool to use. And we're just trying to think about our perfect language learning routine here. So do a little bit more writing. What else can we do? We have input, we have writing. We have input and we have writing. What else can we do? What else can we do in order to learn? Some people are telling me that the link doesn't work. Sorry about that. Just go, you don't need to use my link. Just go to Grammarly and download it. So we've talked about listening. We've talked about reading as well, because where we can just do what we do in our native language, but do it in English instead. So we've talked about listening, reading, writing. It's the obvious one now. Guillermo says, I've just tested it and it works. Fantastic. So Sarah says, how can we practice speaking from home? And Felipe says, speak. Yeah. So let's talk about fluency now. Let's talk about speaking. And I made a video a couple of weeks ago where I talked about the difference between accuracy and fluency. Accuracy and fluency. And it's important to work on these two things. So fluency is the effectiveness of what you're saying. And I think it also includes your pronunciation too, like the way that you say the sounds of English in the words and phrases. So fluency is important. Accuracy is saying the sentences correctly. So it's about using the right grammar and vocabulary. Both of those things are important. So how can we improve our speaking? How can we improve our fluency and our accuracy when we are speaking? Let me know in the chat box. And also click that like button. And feel free to share this with your friends too. So, Juan, ask me that question a little bit later. So, how can we improve our fluency and our accuracy when speaking? What kind of things can we do to improve this? Most people say have conversations. So, have conversations with people. Get a teacher and speak to them on a daily or weekly basis. To listen what we speak. Sure, you're going to tell us record and listen. That's one way. I'm going to tell you a few of the ways too. Can you actually learn it by just watching YouTube videos, reading books and stuff like that? This is called the silent method, where people say for a year or two, You just listen. You never speak. You never practice. You just listen. And then after a while, you'll be able to just speak and use it normally. I haven't done enough research into this, but I also think that a combination of listening a lot and doing very specific speaking activities can help. So I think that combination is good. I also think that I would say listening is more important, but in order to have conversations, it's important to understand what the other person is saying. Not many people think about this, but it was obvious to me when my wife and I lived in Bilbao, and she wanted to learn a little bit of Basque. That's the language that people speak in the Basque country in northern Spain. So it's very different to Spanish. So she learned what is in this because we went to all these pincho restaurants and they had different items of pinchos with lots of different ingredients. So she wanted to know what's in it. So she asked this question. And then when they started speaking, she realized actually, it's really important that I understand more than I can speak. Because you can control what you say, but you can't control what the other person says. So let's just say you feel tired. You can simply say, oh, I feel tired today. And that's effective. It's saying exactly what you want to say. But if somebody else says, oh, I feel exhausted, I feel knackered, I'm cream crackered. Okay, I'm cream crackered. This means I'm tired, and it's slang in the UK. So I'm knackered, I'm exhausted, I feel depleted. All these different things mean I'm tired. But it's important to understand what they mean, but you don't have to use it. So you need to understand more than you can actually use to say. So going back, let's talk about how to improve your speaking. And we're thinking about fluency and accuracy here. So Yauda says, I think nothing works better than living in an English-speaking country and actively engaging in daily problems of speaking and pushing yourself to improve. I agree. I think it is the number one thing you can do to improve your English. However, the majority of people watching this video won't be able to easily do that. The majority of people won't be able to just move to an English-speaking country because of visa problems, family problems, because of their family, because of their job. So what we're talking about here is if you live in a non-English speaking country. To listen to what we speak, to record ourselves, speak to yourself, shadowing. I think it's to speak with a native thinking in English, watch movies. Speak more than listen. So yeah, there are a few things we can do. And I think it's important to get a combination of these things. Another thing we need, I'm going to discuss them very quickly, but another thing to think about is being able to use correct English when speaking. So I think it's important to be efficient with the way that you practice speaking. So to be efficient with the way that you practice speaking. To learn words and phrases that you are going to use. To learn words and phrases that you are going to use. Because again, we are restricted by time. We want to ensure that we are doing things really effectively. Okay? Because we are restricted by time. So, learn conversational English phrases. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. And there are different ways to practice. We can use them in normal conversations. So we can learn these phrases and then use them with our teacher or with a conversational partner Check out Hello Talk. I've never used it, but a lot of people say that it's fantastic. So I'll type this in here. Hello Talk. Tell them that Jack from To Fluency sent you there. Hello Talk. So I think it's a great way to practice. The other way is shadowing, and this can help your fluency. And I think shadowing, it's important to shadow audio that is easy for you to follow. If you try to shadow a fast speaking conversation, it's going to be very difficult. And it's also really important to shadow things that you understand too. So do it so that you can easily follow and so that you are accurate when you are saying it. Now, Gunes, I wonder how it's fixed my accent. We'll come on to that in a second. Another thing to do, so important, is to learn the sounds of English and how to make them. So it's to learn the sounds of English and how to make them. So things like learning the difference between the I and the E sound. Sit, seat, sit, seat. And knowing exactly what to do with your mouth in order to make those sounds correctly. Then also things like relaxed pronunciation and stress and things like the schwa. All of these things are important to do. And it's very rare that a student tells me that they are actively working on this, that they are actively working on how to say the sounds in English correctly. But it's such an important part of speaking, especially both when it comes to fluency and accuracy. So what we can do is incorporate a few minutes of that every day into our learning. Now, it depends, doesn't it? Because if your pronunciation is perfect, it sounds amazing, you can say the sounds perfectly, then maybe move on to things that are a little bit different. Okay, so we've talked about shadowing, speaking with somebody, learning the sounds of English and learning them. And then my method as well, the To Fluency Method, where you take conversational sentences, you listen to them, you repeat them, sometimes you record, and then you compare. So once you can say a sentence correctly, then just repeat it and use things like Anki to get that repetition. If you want to learn more about this method, go to fluency.com/speaking. I won't talk about it too much now because you can learn more about it there. So that method is fantastic. And that method also allows you to internalize new words and phrases and grammar. Because when you are repeating these phrases, you are naturally internalizing them. And that helps you learn grammar. This is such a common, I'll come back to that question, Daniel, but Blad My Life, Pacey, says, when I hear a video from YouTube and also your videos, I understand all your conversation, but when I try to speak with someone in English, it's very difficult for me to speak fluently. It's exactly what we're talking about now, and why most people need to incorporate more of these things I'm talking about into their daily learning routine. Because a lot of people are very passive with their English. And I want you guys to be more active and to incorporate more things that are going to help you with your speaking, especially, but also your writing and your grammar and vocabulary. All of these things will help. Okay, so the To Fluency Method, learn more about that, tofluency.com/speaking. Somebody asked, what is shadowing? Shadowing is where you listen to audio and you repeat, but you don't stop. You don't pause it. So you're constantly just repeating after what somebody says. I'm starting to like this method a little bit more, but I realized it's important that you use the right type of audio. If it's too difficult for you, it's not going to be good. So do it from things like graded readers. Okay, graded readers. Another thing you can do, or is that it? We've talked about shadowing, conversations, To Fluency Method, learning the sounds of English and just pronunciation in general. And there's one more. Writing as well, but writing's a little bit different. So it's important now to think about how you can incorporate these types of methods into your daily routine and which ones are going to be the most important for you. Okay, which ones are going to be the most important for you? Be sure to check out the description to learn more about the methods I have, the program I have. And also, if you are new here, then you can get my book for free. Is there anything else that you do that you think is important? Is there another learning strategy that you have used that is going to help you? Let me know in the comments. Catherine says, I love your videos. Come to Brazil. I've been to Brazil. I have been to Brazil. Asma says, you don't answer me. I don't see your comments. Ask the question again. Yep, so Gemma says there are a ton of free resources on the internet. That's so important, isn't it? Miriam says, Teacher Jack, do you have conversation cards PDF form? No. I do have audio form and the phrases written down in a PDF as well, in the program. You are a cool guy. Thank you. Amira from Egypt. Hello. Malika, come to France, please. My parents live in France and we might go there sometime this year. Is there anything I've missed? Is there another thing that you can do to work, especially on your writing and speaking? Is there anything else that we can do? Asma, can I shadow even audio? I don't understand like news. I'd say try it, but I just think it's important to understand what you're saying. Because if it's too difficult, a lot of people mumble. So they'll listen and they'll go like, and then we saw him on the train. So they'll mumble because they can't make these sounds correctly. So I think it's important to fix the way you speak, learn the sounds of English, and then start shadowing. So it's like you get the accuracy part right, and then you start the fluency. Is there anything I've missed? Anything I've missed? Not many people are commenting about that. Sevda says, I'm going to conversation classes to improve my English speak to be fluent. Yeah, try to do other things too. Because the conversation classes can help your fluency, but not always your accuracy. Can you explain why the vowel I in the words give and time has a different pronunciation? Yes, because English is not phonetic. You can't read a word in English and know how to say it. It's really annoying. In Spanish, you can read a word and know exactly how that should be pronounced. But in English, you don't have that luxury. You don't have that privilege. Instead, you have to learn how words are pronounced. And I think that's why listening is good, but also a good tactic for that, a good technique is to listen and read to something at the same time. So if you're reading if you're reading a book and there's an audio version, you can read and listen. And what we're talking about here is some activities that take more effort. So to listen and read at the same time takes more energy and effort than just listening on the train. Therefore, think about the times when you can focus and do some deliberate practice. Okay, so do some deliberate practice. Gemma is known here for saying, I don't agree, Jack, not always. Well, what percentage of Spanish words can you say where you're not using relaxed pronunciation? What percentage of Spanish words can you say just by looking at the word? Okay, do we say turn on English subtitle or English subtitles? Yeah, turn on English subtitles. Ingrid says to sing songs while reading the lyrics. Yes, I like that. That's another way that you can learn. Songs are good. It just helps you. It helps you a lot with like the stress and the intonation of the language. I love your British accent. I used to watch Skins from the UK. Okay, everybody, again, please like and share this video with your friends so more people can learn about the methods that I talk about. And yeah, just in summary, we can listen a lot. We can listen and watch things because it's very passive. It doesn't take energy, and we can do these things while doing other things. And it's important to get a lot of input. But to be more efficient, think about ways that you can incorporate more writing, more work on your pronunciation, more work on your fluency, and all the methods I've talked about here so that you can make real good progress, really good progress. It's very American, real good, really good progress with especially your speaking, because most people want to improve their speaking. And also think about how you can learn the type of English you need to know. For example, if you need your English to work with tourists because you're a tour guide in Italy, one of my old students was a tour guide in Italy, then learn the types of words and phrases you'll need to communicate with people who are tourists. And then listen to videos where you see tours, so you can listen to the types of questions that English speakers ask when they are on a tour. So, really important. Get very, very focused in there. Dario Heaven says, hello, English learners. Grammarly is a free app to learn. Yep, there's a free version and a paid version. What to do if you get tired of learning English? Think about the reasons why you need to learn and just start having more fun. Do fun things. So, for example, another way to get more input is to play computer games. If you play computer games, play them in English. This is such a fun way to learn. And there are going to be days where you feel lazy, when you don't really want to focus and to listen to your own voice. Just do something. But also, don't make excuses. Find the time to do the things that are going to help you. Okay, everybody, again, thank you so much for being here. If you are new, subscribe to the To Fluency channel and go download my book, The 5-Step Plan for English Fluency. If you've been here for a while and you're interested in my program, there's a 30-day refund policy. So you can take a look around, download the memory cards. If you don't think it's going to be good for you, then you can get a refund. But definitely check it out, read all about it and see if it is for you or not. Again, the link for that is below. And then if you're looking for something else to do right now, go watch my last two videos. I talk about how to learn new words and phrases, and I can't remember what else, but it was a good video. So go check it out. Okay, everybody, thank you so much again, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.